Hello, so now this is July the 3rd practice. So I had 2 sessions of practice with quite a lot of sessions of practice with my brother. So let's see how our June the 3rd practice went. So the match starts and I use forward chess again and he uses Noctowl. So let's see how forward chess performs against Noctowl, because forward chess is one of the few bug type Pokemons not fearing flying type Pokemon. But even though Sky Attack is not effective against forward chess, it could still take like 30 to 40%, I think like 40%, like 35% of forward chess energy away. So after learning that lesson, I blocked here and tried to finish charging Rock Tomb, and I managed to do that and force it to use a shield or kill it. But he decided to use both of his shields and I still have a shield left, and that is an advantage for me. So now I decided to use Noctowl to fight against Noctowl, because I think I wanted to save Vigoroth to fight against his Vigoroth. So that is why I chose Noctowl here. So I think I was right here, and when his Vigoroth comes up, and I could still use a Sky Attack, because even though Sky Attack charges slower than Body Slam, but if your opponent switches a Pokemon, then basically the speed of charging is the same. Here I think I didn't have a shield, so he was right in using Brick Break. And now I used Body Slam, but I think I was quite close to death, and probably, even though I could use a Body Slam again, his Vespiquen would not really die. Okay, so this match was won by my brother. So now let's see how the second match went. So just because so this is the first time ever I used Raichu and Noctowl as a combination with Vigoroth without using the tanky forward chess, just to see how I can tackle his potential Noctowl. And again, Raichu is effective against Vespiquen, because Vespiquen's flying type is weak against electric type moves. But Raichu is too fragile, its defense is weak, so even though it is an X-Scissor, my Raichu's energy went down not quite, but definitely, obviously. But the good thing is I forced him to use both of his shields, and I still have 2. And now I have a Noctowl, which is also effective against Vespiquen. So now I know he would probably use Power Gem, so that is why I used a shield. And now I use a use Sky Attack, and that was effective for sure. So now he used a Raichu, and now you know the advantage is flipped around, and but you know, this attack gives you a lesson. Brick Break doesn't really kill your Noctowl, and your Noctowl can still give Raichu another damage. So there was a little glitch there, and probably due to that glitch, his Raichu charged a lot of energy. See, I was right, he managed to give 2 Brick Break. Wow. Basically, this glitch just didn't dissipate, and we decided to rematch. So again, I used Raichu, Noctowl, and Vigoroth, and just try to see how it performs, because that the match just uncompleted couldn't tell me the full story. So again, he decided to use Vespiquen again, and then see how Raichu can perform. And I wanted to save like back-to-back Brick Break use, and force him to use a shield. Okay, so this move gives you a lesson. Brick Break is not effective against Vespiquen. So if you use a Vespiquen when facing a Raichu or a fighting type Pokemon, then you should probably not use your shield. Especially you see Raichu charges very quickly, and that is very likely Brick Break, not really Wild Charge, but probably you fear I would have that Electric Punch. Then why not you just take one and then see which move he really has. And in this round, I decided to use Vigoroth because he used Vigoroth, so I didn't use Noctowl as I did in the last incomplete match. Here, I think I could have saved this charge move for dealing with his next Pokemon. And my last Pokemon is Noctowl, and that was a bad thing. He still had 2 Pokemons, and I only had just 1, and I didn't really have a shield, so I was doomed to lose. Yeah, Thunder Punch, not Electric Punch, so Thunder Punch. So if you have a Raichu having Thunder Punch, it would be, you can keep using Thunder Punch to fight against flying type Pokemons, either bug or normal flying type Pokemon. So just now I lost, so now I'm thinking, how should I regroup my team. So I replaced Noctowl with 4HS because I anticipated my brother would use Raichu later, so I didn't want to use and disadvantages Noctowl here. So it is Raichu against Vigoroth. So when you have a Raichu to fight against Vigoroth, you have to use Brick Break. Don't use Thunder Punch or Wild Charge because fighting is effective against... Oh, that was not fair. I finished charging, but I died there. Okay, so I was right not using my Body Slam, but just saving this Body Slam to punch his Vespiquen. Okay, so there were already 2 Body Slams before he could use an Accessor. So now it is 3 Body Slams versus 1 Accessor. I was thinking probably he had a glitch there because I didn't really see his Vigoroth. Vespiquen did some damage to my Vigoroth, but anyway, so now it is 4HS versus Lantern. So if your last Pokemon is Lantern and my... Excuse me, so if your opponent's Pokemon is Lantern and my last Pokemon is 4HS and we have the same number of shields and almost the same amount of energy left, then it would be 4HS who would win, but the problem is he still has a shield. So that is why I was in a disadvantage and he eventually won this match. So actually Lantern's Thunderbolt with a shield can take down 4HS for sure if your 4HS doesn't really have a shield. You know, if both Lantern and 4HS doesn't have do not have a shield, then 4HS Earthquake can just KO the Lantern. So, okay, so this is the match, and when I started recording it, it had been Noctowl versus Vigoroth as both of our starters. I just want to highlight here, if your Sky Attack can reach Vigoroth, then Vigoroth would suffer, would lose like 35 to 40% of its energy. Then that was actually harsh to Vigoroth. Even though Body Slam is also dangerous to Noctowl, and every time you switch a Pokemon, basically your opponent's Vigoroth can almost finished charging his next body slam. So that is why after I switched to my Vigoroth, he managed to give me one more body slam before his Vigoroth dies. So we have seen Vigoroth versus Vespiquen quite a few times, and again it just demonstrates Vigoroth can quickly take down Vespiquen if he has many body slams already, and that is why I question my brother's argument. Any bug type Pokemon is effective against Vigoroth. Okay, now it is again Florichess against Lantern, and I didn't really block here because I didn't really have a shield, and he was wise in using Hydro Pump because Hydro Pump can make more damage than Thunderbolt. So now I had a few consecutive losses, so now I was thinking how could I deal with his team, especially that Lantern. And in the last match of our practice on July the 3rd, okay, the match starts. I use Noctowl again. But this time, I was lucky because my Noctowl caught its... Okay, so now I switched to Heracross, but my Heracross didn't really have a fighting type move, including a fighting type charge move. So that was actually bad for me. But I just wanted to... I was thinking my Heracross had already got her moves changed, but actually I didn't really do that. So basically my advantage was turned over by my, ignorance. I think I shouldn't have used a shield here because I wouldn't die there. Especially that was my last shield. And another reason I shouldn't have used that shield was because this time when both Pokemons finished charging, then it would be my brother's turn to use Body Slam first. And now his Vigoroth can just frenziedly damage my Pokemon. And here I was forced to use a Sky Attack, otherwise he could just finish charging his Body Slam and I would just die. And here I knew I would finish charging Sky Attack first, but let's see whether Sky Attack can kill Vespiquen, and actually not. So basically at this point I noticed Vespiquen is actually a not very tanky, but just a tanky bug, even facing a flying type Pokemon. Okay, that is the practice for July the 3rd.